Hey, lads, ladies, and everybody in between. Good evening. At least for me, it's a wonderful Wednesday night. Here in December. So tonight I have a few updates, and then I have a quote to actually go with it. Now that quote will be end up being a little edited due to the due to gender. Um, but first and foremost, the updates. So recently, I don't know if I've actually really kept up with everybody on like what's going on in my life, but I have decided that I'm going to be settling where I am. Um, and that is due to few different things. One of which is very private, so I'm going to keep that one to myself. But the others, I'm looking at starting college here in a little over a year. I kind of start getting getting the path set so I can get my master's in psychology. The other reason is some of the most wonderful people I have ever met. So last video I kind of talked about them a little bit, but there's a lot I can go into on that one. But due to some conversations and due to some revelations of my own, I don't know. I can't really bear to part with them. I miss everybody back home, but I have met some people that I hope to God get to stay in my life for, with any luck, the rest of it. They're absolutely wonderful people, and despite some communication issues and whatever it happens to be, I love both of them very much. So I'm staying put. I'm trying to make the most out of the time I have left in the world, which kind of going into that. No, I'm not dying. No, I'm not sick. No, nothing like that. It's just you never know how much time you've got, so you make do with what you have, and you try and make the best out of every day. But these particular friends I am extremely close with, and it's hard for me to be that close with other human beings. And I've since I really began talking to them lately, I realized that they go a little beyond best friends. If they could be my partners, I would absolutely love that. But that's a whole separate thing. They are a part of me in a way that it doesn't bring any negative. It only brings positive. And I've finally gotten to the point where I'm a pretty well-centered individual myself, and it's nice to actually have apologies. It's nice to actually have that connection with other people in a way that's healthy for everybody involved. Now going a little farther into that, I may or may not have shared this before via YouTube, but I'm going to bring it up again. I am very much poly. That's something I've discovered over the years. I'll more than likely be doing a content video purely about that, mostly because I feel like there's not a whole lot of education about polyamory in the world. And that's something that I kind of want to get settled out there. No, I'm not in a relationship, and I'm not exactly looking for one. I've got my goals, and I'm working on that, and that's where I'm at. And honestly, I spend way too much time with my friends to really be worrying about dates. Honestly, I'd rather spend time with them at this point. Good things all around there. In other words, I may end up expanding some of my content a little bit. I am starting to learn Korean. This is kind of something that I've been debating on learning an Asian language for a while. I couldn't settle on whether or not I wanted to learn Chinese or Japanese or what. But I finally settled on Korean. This is partly due to my friends and partly due to the fact that I need to get my brain engaged prior to going back to school, because I need to make sure that I can actually intake information in a way that I can use it. This is going to be really important for my psychology degree, and it's something that I'm kind of doing for me. With any luck, I don't lose it. That's one of the biggest struggles with learning languages. If you don't use it, you end up forgetting it, and it becomes harder to use. This has happened with German. This has happened with the little bit of Chinese that I had learned, and this has happened, mostly happened with some of the Spanish I learned. Unfortunately, I don't use any of them enough. So that's kind of where I'm at. On the flip side of all of this, part of what I try and do on this channel and through my TikTok and basically through the rest of my life, I'm not looking for any kind of recognition, okay? I had a comment on my TikTok the other day that said, "Bro, nobody knows you." Okay, and one of the biggest struggles with content creators out there, especially those who try and do this for a living, is getting brand recognition. I do understand where that comes from, okay? I've been working customer service and retail for a number of years now, basically since I was 16. This sales is kind of what I do. But, for something like this and what I do and the way I try and help people, recognition isn't really a part of what I do. I don't care if people recognize me or not. It doesn't really take part in what I do. I mean, that's okay. I'm working on getting some better advertising out there anyways, just because, I want to be able to reach more people. but I don't necessarily care whether or not somebody recognizes me or not. What I care about is putting out content that helps people. And if they run across it, cool. If they can use it, even better. But I'm not looking for any, pats on the back or any thank yous or anything like that. Yes, they are absolutely nice, and I love when I get them. But that's not the reason why I do this. The entire point is to make sure people have a chance to grow and have a chance to hear something from the perspective of someone who's been through it just like they have. And that's really why I'm doing all of this. I'm hoping to reach people in a way that's beneficial and healthy for them. I'm not expecting everyone's going to understand the content. Part of that is due to my ADHD ass not being able to keep a single train of thought. That is something that I'm working on. It's highly difficult. I mean, heck, at work I've got to, put in an earbud just so I can focus a little bit. And it helps calm my mind down a lot. But, this is... I keep things unedited and just to the go on purpose. I don't want people to think that, this is a highly tailored, thing. I'm just talking. I'm just providing information in a way that other people can use. And if they can use it, that's awesome. If they can't, well, there's not much I can do about that. Better luck next time. I hope people get help. So that's kind of why I do what I do. In other news, I do believe I am retiring, making many more mods after the ones I have already in progress. It's a wonderful hobby, but I think it's about time to start closing that chapter. So the last mod that I will complete will end up actually being my God of War start for Skyrim. In order to... The reason why I'm doing that is because my focus is elsewhere. My focus is on my friends and psychology and Korean and work. I've got a lot going, and I've got a very, very solid path forward. It was a great hobby. I love doing it. But it's time for me to put my focus elsewhere. I honestly don't even know how much gaming I'm going to be doing anymore, if I'm being completely real. I'm hoping to be spending a lot more time experiencing life. Getting out, doing things. I'm probably going to start dancing again. This is just kind of where I'm at. And I want everybody to remember that it is okay to have your own hobbies, and those hobbies can change. Discovering who you are is a very crucial part of anyone's lives. I know this is especially beneficial for my teen viewers, assuming I have any teen viewers. But this is one of those, this really goes for everybody. If you don't know who you are, you're not doing yourself any favors. Go out there, figure out what you like and what you don't like. Figure out who you want in your life. piece all those things together and remember that no matter what, you got you. It's hard to be a cheerleader for someone else if you're not a cheerleader for yourself. Find the things that make your inner child go, yeah. Find the things that you enjoy and push for that. Really get into the bread and butter of what makes you you. This is something that I can preach all day. It'd be great. So that's going to kind of lead me into this quote. Like I said, I am editing it a little bit just because, it doesn't just apply to one gender. To love a book is to appreciate every chapter. Love them that way too. Love their story and understand that all of it led to the chapter that you're in. So let's think about that for a second. We all live some kind of life. Growing up, my life was kind of hard, mostly because I made it hard. I made it extremely hard. I was a bit of an asshole, among other things. And that kind of made it difficult for everybody else around me. That started this whole cycle of just not cool. Not going to go into details on that one, but it was a very hard 18 years. But we made it through, and we make it up to today. I'm 23 years old at the time of this video. And I don't know if I'd be half the person I am without that experience. Because I know how bad things can get. And with some of the situations I've been a part of, especially recently, being able to take that and help other people balance out is something I have a passion for. But when you're talking about loving somebody else, you're not just loving them for who they are now. You're loving them for the conglomerate of experiences that have gotten them to this point. You're basically looking at all of it and saying, you know what? I love you. I want you in my life. All the pain, all the good, everything in between. Those memories make you. And I want you to be around to make more memories, to make different memories, to build new memories with me. And in a way that you can also flip that, take it about yourself. To love a book is to appreciate every chapter. Love yourself that way too. Love your story and understand that all of it led to the chapter that you're in. Everyone in order to love someone else, you have to love yourself first. That's just that has to be a thing. You've got to at least like yourself. And I know a lot of people that aren't capable of doing that. One of the things that I've noticed, especially with my generation, is that people confuse love for a placeholder. Love for somebody else isn't a placeholder for love for yourself. You can't use it that way. And I tried that for a number of years. And relationship after relationship, things just fell apart. I wasn't even ready to love somebody else, and I kept trying. And what ended up happening was I did more damage to myself because I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. And it wasn't so much that, well, yeah, the relationships were unhealthy. They were absolutely unhealthy. Yeah, for more reason than one. Um, but if I had gone into any of those loving myself, they probably wouldn't have ended so badly each time. Now there are a couple exceptions to that rule. Lord have mercy. I apologize. It's been a long day, a slow day, but a long day. But as I got older and as I started getting a better idea of who I was and how I interacted with the world, I realized that there are a lot of things that just don't matter at the end of the day. I've got me and I've got the things that I enjoy, and as long as I've got that, I'm good. I've got the things that matter to me, and I've got the people that matter to me. I've got my best friends still in my life. One's back home, and hopefully I'll get to see him in a couple months. Hopefully. And then I'll see him again later on that year. But I've also got friends here that I love more than anything. I can see the one who's one of the sweetest men I've ever met. And he struggles. And he struggles a lot. But underneath that struggle is one of the sweetest men I've ever met. His ability to just exist. He doesn't have to do a whole lot. He does have passions for things. And he has passion for people. And he has so much love that it's astounding, considering some of the things he's been through. And one of my other friends, I love her just as much. She she's been through a lot too. Not the same way. Nowhere near the same way. And albeit, the brain cell we have is barely even a brain cell. She's a complete dork. A little bit of communication issues there. Lots of walls up. But just as capable of showing so much love. And looking at the both of them, they're wonderful people. I can truly see where my life benefits being around both of them. And it's amazing because, every now and then I'll just stop. And I'll watch. And, I'll watch the gears turn in their heads as they're just dealing with some basic stuff. Whether it be, fixing up a new camera system or poking at a Korean dictionary that I can't even read. They have unique views of the world that I find fascinating. And it's just amazing watching them interact with, the world. And, the same thing can be said about me. I've spent a lot of time, and if I take a step outside of, my viewpoint, I've managed to do a lot in just the past year. I've taken myself, and I've gone from being the hurt, scared kid that I used to be, and I've healed my inner child, and I've healed from a lot of hurt. And when I look at the world around me, I put my own spin on everything around me. And sometimes other people look at that and they say, "Wow, that's really neat. That's different. That helps." And folks, you've got to be able to do that. It's not so much an ego thing. You don't have to pat yourself on the back. But being able to look at yourself and love the person that you are, because everybody is unique. Everybody has a different view of everything around them. And people provide different experiences for each other. That's a gift that nobody else can give you but yourself. So viewers, I challenge you. Find that spark. That fire in you. Find what makes you, you. And you hold on to that. Walk on cloud 9. And be who you are. And always strive to be the best version of you that you can be. Because you are worth it. Just like me. Just like my friends. Just like my family. Just like everybody I walk past down the street. Just like the couple of homes I go to every day. Just like my brother off in Japan. Just like my brother back home. Just like my little brother that I haven't seen in a long time. Just like my parents. Just like your parents. Just like your friends, your family. And figure out the good things in each experience that you have. And light your path forward. Take those opportunities that they provide. Life will get so much richer because of it. And so everybody, I know this is a longer video. I really hope that each of you takes something from these videos. Like I said, I don't do this for recognition. I do this because I feel like it's a good thing to do. And, helping people is something that I like doing. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Tell your loved ones that you love and miss them and that you are proud of them. And make sure you tell yourself that too. And for those of you that aren't capable of doing that right now, I love you. I'm so proud of you. Everything is so difficult right now, but yet you're choosing to be here. And that is a brave, brave thing to do. And so, carry that with you as long as you can. And I'll see everybody in the next video. Good night.